this Axios poll, Disney carried a reputation score in 2014 of 83 out of 100. Most people liked Disney. 2014, not that long ago.
Didn't you? I grew up loving Disney. Like Disney products to me was the most like it was American. It was Americana meets childhood fantasy and dream. It was great, right?
I mean, that's what we did on our family vacations. We would go stay at Fort Wilderness Campground at the Disney World Resort down in Florida. Obsessed, like a huge Disney family. By the way, when it had a reputation score of 83, Buck, not polarizing at all. Democrats and Republicans, this is just 2014, had roughly the same opinion of Disney World. Okay, Disney. This is where it gets interesting. It has collapsed. The overall brand value of Disney has gone from 83 to 70.9 in the current number, right? And when you go dive into it, it's accelerated its collapse because it's become very political. Disney's reputation went up a few points for Democrats by coming out and saying, oh, we're opposed to Don't Say Gay. We dislike DeSantis. But it plunged more among Republicans. So from a pure business perspective, leave aside the politics. If your brand is gaining small amounts with Democrats and losing massively with Republicans, and we live in a 50-50 society, why in the world would you do that? And along the way, Disney's polarization has now skyrocketed. It's the 5th most polarizing brand they tested in all of America, Buck.
And you know what? You know why? This is about people's kids, right? You know, this is about people's children. And the implicit promise of Walt Disney that I grew up with, that you grew up with, and that a lot of people listening, not only did they expected that their kids or their grandkids would have the same explicit or implicit promise from Disney. And it was as follows. We are going to expose your children to beautiful stories of the good guys triumphing over evil, and it's going to be creative, and it's going to expose them to beautiful music and to creativity, and it's going to be wondrous. And instead, we got the head of Disney talking about how we need more trans, non-binary, and sexually fluid and pansexual characters, and they've started to actually put that stuff, not started to, in recent years, put that stuff in their content. And so the moment that the corporate entity that you thought was safe for your kids, I can't even think of a brand that feels like more of a betrayal than what, a really major, but people say Bud Light, okay, fine, but that's about adults, right? No one thinks that Bud Light wasn't trying to appeal to 4-year-olds and 6-year-olds. And what we see here with Disney is something else. And I think it shows that parents are waking up.
And the math here, Buck, this is what I think is so key. I'm a capitalist. If the math added up, and by going woke, Disney was increasing its brand value, and they were increasing the amount of money they could make, then I would say, hey, you know what? I may disagree with it, but there's a logically sound business purpose to it. All of the numbers reflect that isn't true. What you gain by going woke, you are more than losing on the other side of the equation. It's basic math, and it's bad business. And that, to me, is the argument that Republicans can make to go beyond why woke is wrong, right? We disagree with it from a cultural perspective, but it's also really bad business. And that, to me, is what you're seeing in these numbers that are coming out.